There it is. South Africa, the champions of the 2021 Lions Series. Brilliant performance in the end by the Springboks. They had to work really, really hard for it in that second half, and the bomb squad once again explosive. And it is South Africa that will take home all of the spoils, as well as 12 years of the bragging rights. Congratulations to Siyamthanda Kolisi as well as his side. Just confirmation then of the score, 19-6. And maybe even a walk down memory lane as Morné Steyn came on. What a kick from him. Calm and composed as always. And the series is now in the bag. The celebrations will continue for many, many hours, many, many days, many, many years as well. A team that was really teetering, especially after that first match. Came back last week. They had to rise to the occasion. The question during the week was, would they be able to match that? Maybe not so much in this first half of this match, but certainly in that last 20 minutes. Siyamthanda Kolisi now captained the Springboks to a World Cup victory, and now a Lions tour in the bag as well. Congratulations to the men in the green and gold. Commiserations to the Lions of 2021. Yeah, keep party downstairs, eh? This is going to continue for a very long time. I'm sure you're celebrating as well. Do send us your tweets as well. Hashtag #SSRugby as we continue the celebrations. Lukhanyo together with Magazole Mapimpi, the duo that we always see on the field. Everywhere that they go, they are together. Apele Lefasi also in the mix there. Would have been lovely to see him in action. We're likely to see him in action in the Rugby Championship. But this has been a colossal effort. Mapimpi getting the man of the match performance in that second test. It set it up perfectly for this day. Earlier on, I'd spoken about the number 7, completion and perfection. South Africa have certainly completed this one with a flurry in a perfect display of rugby in that second half. Still joined by CJ Stander, Kobani Bobo, as well as John Smith. We will be going downstairs to Joel Stransky, Victor Matfield, as well as Skalkberger, and then off to London to speak to Jeremy Gascott and Jerry Flannery. But to you, gentlemen in studio, you're a lot more muted now. Not so much 5 minutes ago.
Can I say something before you go, Mott? I think if I was Morné Steyn, I'll start an insurance company. My first 2 clients will be John Smith and Sia Kolisi.
Yeah,
because they both owe him a bit.
They owe him a lot.
I've done the maths. He's only going to be 49 in 12 years' time. So we just got to look after him.
We have to look after the young man.
We'll make sure to wrap him up in cotton then. Mummify him. CJ, for you, that performance in the second half.
Yeah, I think that second half, you could see they came out, they were physical, they made sure they looked after their discipline, and yeah, I think when Morné Steyn came on, we all were thinking it's going to happen. We got those 2 penalties, and that last one again was like it was a flashback. It was literally a flashback, and yeah, I think a few of us called it up here. I think the big thing was they just stopped the Lions' momentum and took it away from them.
Certainly did. Cheslin Colby's try, though, probably the moment of the match, the moment that turned things on his head.
So special. I mean, the players that were involved in the look on your arm, he is a colossal. The way that the man just, he reads things like not too many people can. He's blessed with the feel of the game, calm onto the ball and creating an opportunity. Cheslin Colby, though, I mean, he still had so much to beat and he still had so much to do. And just because of the talent that he is, he took it with an aplomb. And again, he just showed the world that if you give him a chance, doesn't matter how big, how small you are, he'll do some magic.
What a try it was. For you, John? You were so quiet in those final moments.
It's cold. It's cold.
Like it is cold. I mean, even blowing cold. But there was, it's fairy tale stuff. You know, it's the storytellers of the modern age are these Springboks of ours, and they've just been incredible. And I think it's important for people to understand what this team has been through. They haven't played together for 2 years. This is their first time to play as a team after 2 years since winning the World Cup, and they play against the best the Northern Hemisphere has to offer, and they do the business in the last minute of a test series with a guy that did the same thing 12 years before at the age of 37. I mean, it's these moments that I think we'll be talking about for years to come. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, it must be like a nightmare image. You know, when we grew up, there was the movie It, and when you see the clown, you get sort of this anxiety. I think that's what the people of the North must think every time they see a picture or a video of Morné Steyn.
Wow, Mornay, he was the hero of the day. We had asked for someone to rise to the occasion, and Gatland, Colby, as well as Mornay, probably two that had to stand really tall tonight. But we'll speak a little bit about the mix of the bench as well. We're going to be finding out from our other analysts their thoughts on this game as well. But yeah, I think we should go to London town. Jeremy Gus got together with Jerry Flannery. Jerry, you called it. Jeremy, not so much. Gentlemen, how are you feeling about the performance in that second half and that victory by the Springboks?
Well, Mott's, yeah, two different feelings here. Jerry got it right and Jerry too got it wrong. But I'm going to be positive and firstly congratulate the Springboks, because I think overall the three matches, for me, they were very consistent. They were the better team overall and held in there right at the end to produce the victory by 3 points and win the series. Very telling that some big moments came in the scrum, and that was the one at the end that allowed that got the penalty, and Mornay staying knocked over the penalty again. But I think the Lions can be generally proud of the performance that they put in overall. It just wasn't quite enough at the end, and it shows how big this and how good this Springbok side is. Having hardly played any games since the World Cup final, they've lifted that trophy and they've won the series. So in honesty, I'm just blown away by how good this Springbok side is. What do you feel, Jerry?
Yeah, I think the Lions went and they fired a shot. They gave it their best go, but I think you have to put in context. Today is all about the Springboks, and if you look at 2017, 2018, when the Springboks were at their lowest ebb, when they were ranked 7th in the world, for Jacques and Rassi to come back in and Felix Jones to come back in and to turn that round into a rugby championship in 2019, a World Cup in 2019, and now a Lions Test series, it's remarkable. It says they've a really special group, because you can achieve greatness once, but to achieve it consistently shows that they're getting things really right there. So it's all credit to the Springboks here. I
think Warren Gatland will kind of think that he was that far away from maybe drawing the series or winning the series. These tough games are decided by small margins. Maybe he might look back and the team might look back when they had those opportunities to knock over the 3 points. Instead, they went for the big, brave call, went for the kick down the touchline, and then the box defence held out incredibly well. You needed some calm heads to make some decisions there. Do you think, Jerry, that they will look back and kind of go, well, maybe we should have taken the 3 points in those chances?
Hindsight is 20/20, but I think what you've got to do is, I think the Lions went out and they said they were going to fire a shot, and going to the corner, they went to the corner in the first half. The only tries they scored against the Boks were maul tries, so across the Test series. So if you look, they backed themselves. They went in the first half, they scored a maul try. Second half, went to the corner again. And to be honest, that was phenomenal maul defence, because the Springboks contested, so they had players in the area. They managed to get the Lions maul on the ground. And then, like we said beforehand, we said the scrum battle was going to be huge. And it was, the Boks got the benefit of that penalty decision there. And that gave them huge momentum.
For me, I'm pleased for the Lions players that they've gone out there in that last match, and they haven't put the ball all the way down the line. They played rugby. They carried hard. They carried physically. They really gave it their best shot, but that shot was carried by the Boks and a bit more, and that's why the Boks won in the end.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your summation. If you can just hang 10 for me, would love to get your final thoughts as we wrap it up a little bit later. But Jerry speak about something we picked up here in the panel as well. The Lions not taking those penalty opportunities, getting that scoreboard ticking over.
Yeah, I think they touched on it. You need to feel the game and feel where it's going. But I think there was 3 at the end. It was 9 points. Maybe the first one. I'm a big believer that in Test rugby you need to take your points at the end. You have to pull the trigger at some stage. But if you look at the score, 16-19, you're going to look back and think, oh, might have done something else. But hey, I'm Captain Hindsight here, so. But it was a big change in the game.
Yeah, it's much easier to call it afterwards.
Yeah, they had some few opportunities. I mean, everyone will probably rue that the first one in the first half when Liam Williams had Josh Adams, who scored about 8-9 tries already in the series, and not giving that ball away. And those are the little small margins we talk about. Lukanyam has the same situation, puts Villiers into space, gives it to Gatland, Gatland scores. and all of a sudden at 3 points is a massive difference at the end. So taking the opportunities and making sure that you live in that moment, you take it, because that's why you've been chosen. You cement yourself into that space. You verify why people have picked you to be in that place, to make those decisions when it comes to it.
John, how do you think the Lions are feeling after that performance? Because it was so close for so long.
Yeah, I think they'll be gutted. And they've come over here. They really have come with a squad that could have beaten the Springboks. It hasn't worked out. There's been a lot of niggle on the field. You know, I don't think that any of them will be going back with, you know, having built friendships that will last decades, because there's just been no opportunity for the teams to mix, and there's been needle on the field as well. So I think they'll be disgruntled. They've been away from their families for a long time. They've now got to quarantine for 2 weeks to get home. It's not a nice place to be.
And it is big respect for them. They took the challenge. They came down to South Africa at this unprecedented time. They've come here and they've really given our people something to enjoy and see some good rugby. The way that they went about it against the provincial sides, it was good, because now we understand what it's going to be like in the United Rugby Championship.
Yes.
So those are the kind of things that you have to give kudos for them. It was a big ask.
For me, the most important thing around this Test series is that it could have gone either way. I mean, this was a really powerful Lions squad, and the selections, the strategy. We were treated to 3 weeks of magic in Test series, and I think from both sides. And it's the margins that Jeremy talks about. It's the most cruel thing around sport, is that these little margins make a massive difference. And no one will ever look back at the games and the quality and the strategy and the selections. They'll just look back and, you know, hold their medal and revel in the memories.
Certainly will. Great memories created by the Lions as they come down to South Africa, but it is the home side that walk away with victory in 2021. Going downstairs to three very heavy gentlemen, Joel Stransky is with Skalkberger, as well as Victor Matfield. Gentlemen, your summation of the game, how are you feeling? Excited?
Mats, I think we were all exhausted. It was sitting on the side here watching that game I can tell you, was rather tiring and rather anxious. Our hearts were pumping away at times. And the guys upstairs have covered a lot of the ground, and particularly, guys, the small margins. But, you know, in a tight game like that, it's not always about the small margin. It's about the big player who takes advantage of the one tiny little opportunity he gets. Cheslin Colby today, the scrum on that side, Trevor Nyakani. Who stood out for you today? What were those moments today, Skulk, that won it for the Boks?
Well, first of all, from the Lions side, when Finn Russell came on, I thought they had some more impetus on attack, more options. It was obviously rock solid off the tee. And you go back, you counted how many penalties they didn't take. From our side, obviously, we're the most magnificent counter-attacking team, opportunistic. The try of Cheslin, his finish is amazing. But in and around that, Lokanya to Vili, and how quickly they sum up that situation. And then two massive moments. The 5-meter scrum penalty in, I think, the 75th minute, and then obviously the last scrum penalty. I think I'm getting too old this, because I had anxiety, I was stressed, I was sweating, even though it's like 5 degrees Celsius outside. I mean, I don't know how much longer I can handle this, but it was amazing. I reckon the whole of South Africa, it's a long weekend, and I think everyone is as thirsty as this panel is here. I think we're all in need of some form of drink.
Victor, just looking at the forwards, it was a massive effort. We were talking about the scrum, the maul defence, the likes of Lutu Yaga who came in, Evan Etzebeth who's been colossal. It's a forwards game. It's become a forwards game, but it was a massive effort, wasn't it?
Unbelievable effort, and I think the squad of us, this team is a quality team. I mean, what they've done at the World Cup, coming here, losing a Peter Steph Totoya, IB Player of the Year, then someone else comes in, fills his role. I mean, the guys coming off the bench, we had Blood early on, Kwacha again coming on. It's just fantastic. These guys know how they want to win games, but the effort that goes into that, I mean, the intensity, getting up off the ground, making those beckets, getting in, and they take time. We talked about the scrum in the first half. They were there, they were holding, but we break them down, we squeeze them, and then we come through in that second half. But they look for opportunities. I just have to talk about Colby again. I mean, a lot of people says, listen, I never get opportunities. He had one opportunity, use it, unbelievable, scored in the corner. It's just unbelievable.
For me as well, like Damon de Allende in his 50th Test match, I thought he had outstanding series again tonight. The work, and it's the little things he just does all the time, and he does it so well. I mean, he's really become like the backbone of what we want to achieve, and we don't play fancy rugby. We chuck it to him, and still he gets over it. You know, tonight he was up against Bandi Aki, who's obviously a bit of a bust, and then Morné Steyn. How can you script this, eh? Luckily, it was in Cape Town. It was a little bit of a shorter kick, and I think it came off his shin bone. But somehow it still went over. I mean, you can't script these things.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What a story. And actually talking to Morna after, he said that first kick hit the ground. Luckily, it went over. And second one, it almost came off the shin. But it went through. What an opportunity. And what a great moment for Morna.
And guys, you've both captain sides. You're both leaders in the game. What about Siya Kolisi? He's captained us to a Rugby World Cup victory and now to this. But it's not just the fact that he's captained a great side. He's captained it unbelievably well, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he was under pressure after the first game. They all were under pressure. And a lot of people said, no, he's not playing well. He's not leading the team as he should. Alan Wynne-Jones had his number in that first game. Then he came through last week, outstanding game, and again tonight. I mean, he went off, came back, and just the effort and the leading from the front is fantastic to see.
I think as a leadership group, they've really found a way that works for them. Siya is obviously the face of that, but it's allowing everyone in and around him to take ownership. And I think that's the strength always been with the Boks when they're playing well. You've got your captain, he's your figurehead, which is Siya. He takes all the pressure, but in and around your game managers is really important. And in big games like this, the margins, as we mentioned, so small. I mean, this could have gone either way. And I mean, I said 1 point, Victor said 2 points before the games. It ended up being 3. But that's just the feeling you got.
I'm glad you left my prediction out of there. Listen, guys, it's been wonderful. It's been great chatting, and as you can hear, Mats, the boys here are ready to go and have a lemonade. I think it's been one of those anxious evenings of watching a wonderful, wonderful Springbok victory.
Lemonade, you say? Okay, enjoy. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. That's Joel, Skulk, as well as Victor. Very, very happy men on the side. They've been stressed since the start of this week, but in the end, South Africa victorious on the night. Gentlemen, you had picked up some of the key players for today. Damian Jalenda playing in his 50th match, but Lut Diaga as well. You know, the line-out wasn't quite working to start off with. The free kicks that were given to either side as well. It started to come together with those mauls again.
Look, I think it's fitting to talk a little bit about Lut Diaga, and he's one of many players that had quite a big challenge to get himself here. I mean, I think, you know, having threatened the doctor to do whatever he's got to do to make the operation successful so that he'd have a chance to play in a series, then gets probably, you know, a start where he probably didn't have 80 in the tank, but he goes and he goes. He's got an amazing ability to manage the line-out, and also he puts pressure on the other team. You know, you can see they had a distinct plan to block up the back and the middle and force the Lions to go to the front of the line for most of the game. But Lut Diaga, I think in the first 5 minutes, he'd probably put in 3 hits that would make any chiropractor happy.
The good thing about it is the clarity and the whole detail that they go. And you can see how these players really focus on those things. And it's driven by the players. It's driven by those leadership groups. And this is why when a player like Marco van Staden comes on, a Kwagga Smith comes on, a Jasper Wissel with only just 2 caps, he wins a Lions series. So those are the kind of things that your leadership group does, because they give you the details so that you can feel comfortable in that pressure.
CJ, who were some of your standouts tonight?
Yeah, I think Lucano for me, he was the whole series. I think he was man of the series if there is one. Damian as well. If I go through Trevor, for me, when he came on again, massive impact. Got that penalty from that scrum. And Siya, I mean, he played well, captain unbelievably well. Those were the big standouts for me. And then Cheslin, I don't want to be on a field or even in the street, on the wrong side of the streets, facing him, because he'll step you, I promise you.
He'll step you into oblivion. So let's take a look one more time. The Luno play of the day, Cheslin Colby.
Show Bitcoin who's boss. Tackle Bitcoin at the tap of a button. Get the Luno app now.
Who's back, please? Thank you. It's Duan van der Merwe giving chase to the hoist from Price. Lost forward by the Lions, but advantage to the Springboks. LaRue with Colby to his outside. Williams to beat, he gets away from him. And Cheslin Colby has produced an individual moment of magic to put the Springboks in front in Cape Town. South Africa in front by 1 with a quick kick to come. It's his 9th try in Test rugby. Wonderful reaction from Lucanio and Willie LaRue to spark into counter-attack mode. But look how much he still had to do, getting away from both Liam Williams and Luke Cowan-Dickey.
Bitcoin, you got owned. Tackle Bitcoin at the tap of a button. Get the Luna app now.
Well, there you have it. Cheslin always scoring the very important tries. The try against New Zealand, the winning try in the Rugby World Cup final. And here he is with that try, a moment that really turned the game on its head against the British and Irish Lions. Who were the other Lions standouts for you, CJ, during the tour?
I was actually thinking when Finn Russell came on, he made a massive difference. I was thinking Ali Price and him maybe will get 10 minutes at the end of the game. He came on, made a big difference, and he actually put some speed on the game. And Robbie Inshaw for me as well. He had some unbelievable carries. His defence was rock solid. You have to remember he played against a centre pairing that is world class, and he still made good meters, and he played well. He made a big difference.
I think it's important. I think they didn't want that. I think they wanted Finn to come on a bit later. They wanted him to have that ignition, that excitement, that bomb squad effect, probably for 20-25 minutes. And so coming on that early, Finn plays a certain way. It couldn't have matched the rhythm that they wanted for the first 60. And but he was kicked incredibly well. Everything he touched looked exciting. He got absolutely slammed in the tackle, got up, he kept going. But again, it's the game. Their plan of bringing him on and trying to chase the game at the end ended up not being able to happen because of circumstance, because of injury to bigger. And he was really good. I think the other player that I think did really well for the Lions is Tag Furlong. He was incredible, a lot of pressure, and the Springboks came for their scrum in all three tests. Probably the upper hand went to them in the first test, second test to the Lions, and then today probably at the end with the penalty count, you've got to say South Africa got it, but Tag Furlong carried, tackled, scrummed. He put in a big shift.
Kobani, for you, your standouts?
Well, I thought Rob Henshaw, you can see the consistency in that way that Warren Gatland sort of backed him up, gave him the chances for all the three tests. I thought today he was quite special. He got them over the gain line. He was working hard. I mean, just like inches from last test match. Just before that halftime, can you imagine if he scored that and how much this will have turned around and the momentum that he's had? It just shows you how these players are quality players. They play for their countries. They got pride in what they do, professional pride in what they do. Murray Toja again shows up every time. And for Alwyn Jones, I mean, it's incredible to have 12 caps for the modern British-Irish Lion player. And that's something that we will aspire for further on, especially inspiring the younger players up in Europe, that it still is a possible thing.
Yeah, he's been colossal. Captain fantastic. The fact that he even returned to play the series is colossal. So a big congratulations to him. 12 caps in the bag as far as playing for the British and Irish Lions is concerned. And in the modern day, probably one of the best that they have produced. Big shoes for them to fill going into the future tours as well. Let's now listen to the Lions coach, Warren Gatland.
Warren Gatland, you must be disappointed with that result. Where do you think it went wrong tonight?
Oh, I don't really think it went wrong anywhere. It was just it was a tough, tight test match, and South Africa took a few of their opportunities. We probably missed one or two, particularly when we had a 2-on-1 with Josh Adams on the wing. You got to make the most, and probably as well as I do at this level, you get one or two chances and you got to convert them. And South Africa took most of their chances, particularly an opportunist try from the ball goes loose and Chisholm scores that. So look, there was nothing in the game. We were really proud of our players in terms of the effort that they put in, and we were bold and tried to play rugby and took a few risks by going to the corner and maybe not taking the threes, but we wanted to try and build a lead and put South Africa under a bit of pressure to play a little bit more. So yeah, it was just one of those test matches that I don't feel went wrong. It was just a bounce of the ball and a really, really tight counter, and well done to South Africa.
You must be really proud of a guy like Finn Russell also coming on in, what was it, the 10th minute or whatever, and putting up a performance like he did, really sparking the attack for your team, and he really showed and looked as if he fitted into this Lions team.
Yeah, no, he played really well, and he sort of came on tour with a bit of an Achilles issue, and we injected him a few weeks ago, so he was only really back available for sort of the second test, and then we took even though he hadn't played much rugby, put him on the bench that if things did open up and loosen up, you know, he could come on and be a bit creative. He came on a little bit earlier than we probably expected. You know, he had a really good performance, and you know, be disappointed that you know, he dropped the up and under. That was at him. So you know, it's all about the positives, and then but as players, you look at probably one or two mistakes that you make as well, and things could have been different. But yeah, really positive performance by him.
Warren, talk to us about the complexities of bringing a squad like this together. I mean, you as the coach, you must still be quite proud seeing the way that your team performed. Could have won the whole series in this last test match, you know, because you start from scratch every 4 years.
Yeah, it's tough, and even though South Africa haven't played a lot of rugby, I mean, we get a group of players together and we get very limited preparation time back in the UK, and then you're trying to build up a squad and combinations as you go, and you want to give everyone a chance. And that's what makes the Lions so challenging but so exciting, because you tend to be playing normally one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the world, and again we're playing the world champions, and 4 years ago we were playing the world champions. In 2009 it was the world champions, so it's not easy, and then the expectation's really high because you're playing away from home, and there's an expectation to win a series, or you know, like the series was incredibly close and it could have gone either way, and well done to South Africa, and you know, those players then pass that baton on, or the mantle, to another group of players in 4 years' time. So, you know, I just think the Lions is incredibly special. We need to protect it. We need to make sure that it's part of the calendar. I know the Southern Hemisphere players really look forward to it. The Northern Hemisphere players, there's you know, 2 tournaments really. It's the World Cup every 4 years, and then the Lions comes around 2 years afterwards, and so I think it's pretty special.
It is pretty special, and I must say I'm amazed every 4 years when that debate comes up, because from a South African point of view, you always look forward to that Lions tour, and it really is so special and such a big part of world rugby as such. In 4 years' time, will Warren Gatland's name be thrown into the hat again?
I don't know. There's a lot of water under the bridge before that, so I've loved my time. It's been you know, really proud of my association, and we'll just have to wait and see. But you know, there's a lot of things to happen in the next 4 years.
Well, you've had tremendous success and a great name in the game of rugby. So thank you very much for what you've added to the game.
Thanks, Sean. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Really special by Warren Gatland. What a colossal coach he has been, not to the Lions over the years, and also to Wales, and he heads on over home to take on the Chiefs as well. And CJ, for you, how would you surmise Warren's leadership in this Lions team over the years? What have you seen from him, and how has he grown this brand as well?
Yeah, I think he took over at a difficult time, and he mentioned that the Lions are special, and he made sure that everyone in the squad and working with it made sure that they know that. And I think he was for the last 12 years, he was the glue, really, because he's one constant guy and one constant thing, that voice that wanted to make the team successful, and he was very successful. And yeah, I think one word will be exceptional, because it is a tough job. You mentioned it there, to get all the guys together in a short space of time, to make sure that they go out and win a series. And I think I think he said it, nothing went wrong today. They just came up against a team who is, no one can deny them. They've been playing unbelievably well in the series, so it could have gone either way. But yeah, in the next 4 years, hopefully his name's in there again, and they can go into Australia and go to the next series.
Lots of water under the bridge, says Warren Gatland. Before then, let's head over to our London studio. Jeremy and Jerry standing by. Gentlemen, your standouts as far as the Lions team and the Springbok team are concerned in this series. And would you recall Gatland in 4 years' time?
Well, Mott's, for me, my players of the tournament from each side would be, I'd go for Franco Mossad. I thought he was, his engine, his work rate, his contribution was incredible. And for the Lions, I would go for Courtney Lawes. You know, he's normally a second row, playing for England, playing for his club side, Northampton, and Warren decided to pick him in the back row. And I think the additional body in the line-out helped, and his carrying is a side of his game that he's developed. And you know, he was a warrior, like Franco was through all the games throughout the series, and unusual for a three-quarter to be looking at the forwards. But that's the kind of attritional series we had. What are your thoughts, Jerry?
Well, I thought from the box, I thought there was some real standouts. I thought Etzebeth, I thought Mostert, I thought they were outstanding. I thought Delende, fantastic as well, but Lukenyo to me was the player of the series. I just thought his line speed on the outside, constantly forcing the lines back inside and making big reads. I thought he was outstanding. I thought from a Lions point of view, Laws really stepped up in terms of physicality, which is the biggest challenge when you're playing the boxes, what players can step up physically. I thought Jack Conan delivered well for a guy who hadn't a huge amount of experience playing at test level consistently. I think the guy who was probably the most outstanding Lions player is Robbie Henshaw. When you consider Delende and how good they were, and Robbie Henshaw really stood out, he has become so physical. And if I had one regret, it's that I don't feel that the Lions probably used him correctly or had a settled centre pairing enough that tested the box. But like when you've got Damien Delende, Lukenyo there, that's a big ask.
Indeed, yeah. I think for Gatland, as he said, I thought he was going to retire. I thought he was going to announce retirement live on TV, but thankfully he didn't. And I think his hat could be there in the ring in 4 years' time. It depends what happens in the Six Nations, because if over the next 3 years a dominant side appears, which we've not had for a couple of seasons, then that coach automatically becomes a big reckoner when it comes to choosing the Lions coach. But he can be really proud, as he said, of what he's achieved. I don't know of any others that would really fall naturally in, because Eddie Jones has said he's not really interested. I guess maybe Gregor Townsend, now he's had a little taste. Yeah,
if you look at it, like if Gatland is out of the Six Nations, he's not seeing the players week to week. He's not getting those little one-on-ones that you have. And I think one of the big things is that Gatland would have gone into this series saying, okay, well, I've played against the box with Wales, and we pushed them really, really close in a World Cup. So if I add in the best players from 3 other countries, I should have a good crack at it. He's gone out of the mix now, and I think the natural guys, like you said, there's a lot of water under the bridge. Naturally, someone like Gregor Townsend, who's been in the mix there, he could be the next guy.
Yeah, you got Andy Farrell from Ireland as well. But so those would be our two maybe possibles that could be around in 4 years' time. But one thing's for sure, we definitely want another tour. I'm sure it'll happen. Bring on Australia in 4 years' time. But well done, the Boks.
Thank you so much. That is Jeremy Guscott as well as Jerry Flannery. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Jeremy, to you especially over the 3 tests, you've been extraordinary. It's always a pleasure having you right here on your World of Champions. And to you, Jerry, well done for calling it correctly, mate. Got it spot on. Have a lovely night, gentlemen. And we'll see you again in 12 years. It's going to be a long, long, long wait before South Africa have to take on the Lions once again. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, as we wrap it up, we're going to hear from Jacques Nienaber in just a little while. Your final thoughts on this tour, CJ?
This is exactly what this series is about. There was drama, action, a bit of comedy, with me being up here with my bad English. But
someone actually tweeted, can I interrupt you, that you can take CJ to Munster and Ireland, but you can't take out his accent. He's always going to be an Afrikaans boykie from South Africa.
That's spot on, you know. So well done whoever said that. It's probably my wife. But it's been a great series. I think unbelievable rugby. People might have said it was boring, but it was winning rugby, and it's exactly what everyone needs in this time. And yeah, a bit of excitement, and I enjoyed a lot. You know, a lot of off-the-pitch things that I enjoy more now after not playing anymore. So and it's been great being here, and I just wish there could have been supporters here to watch this game, because we were privileged enough to be here the last 2 tests anyway, and it's just something that people need to experience.
Morné Steyn, once again, the hero of the day. That's what the day and the occasion called for, and you really stood up head and shoulders.
Yeah, Mats, I think you started it off by calling 7 as a perfection, and he is 37.
Yeah.
And it's just, he's always known his processes. So he was not even flinching. I mean, we saw it. We were standing over here and thinking to ourselves, he's going to pick up the ball and kick it over. Actually, CJ has predicted this, and well done. And you did mention that Monestein again will be a factor. Good on the management team to understand that you need a finisher on the bench and someone who has taken that opportunity before, and he comes out again and he shows it.
John, you need someone who's really going to rise to the occasion like this. Cheslin, Colby, Monestein on this side as well.
Well, I think we've had several people that have put their hands up, but for me, I think I'm really proud to have a guy like Sia captaining South Africa. What he's done, you know, how he came back from the disappointment and the sadness and the frustration of the first test, his performance in the second test tonight. I think it's just, you know, it's a special story that Sia's got, and he's been able to add on to that with the way that. The thing that I love about Sia is that, you know, in his first interview after winning it, you know, he gives kudos to Eben Etzebeth, who's, you know, obviously talked about the impetus and the importance of that last scrum. And for me, that's a great leader that understands the value of the people that he's responsible for, and gives them and the leadership group all the credit, and tries to sit back, and he's an incredibly humble person as well. And you know, I think I think it was Gatland who said this is a special group there, and they've become very difficult to beat. They've got something that is unique. You can't coach it. But they've got grit, and they stick together and they stick in, and they never stop.
It's magical to watch as well. Let's also hear from their coach, Jacques Nienaber.
Jacques Nienaber, the victorious coach of the 2021 British and Irish Lions series. How does that sound?
Amazing. Hats off to the players. I thought they were awesome. The whole series, you know, there was a lot of curveballs thrown our way, and they made unbelievable plans.
Jacques, you've been thrown into this head coach position. You know, we had COVID. You got the team together. You did not have a lot of time to really prepare the team. Let's rewind 2 weeks after that first loss against the Lions. What was going through your head?
No, John, like you know, we normally go and we do a proper review, and I thought we had chances in that second half, and things didn't go our way. And then, obviously, I think probably the loss got clarity for us. There was a lot of white noise, and I think our coaches put our hands up first and foremost, saying that, listen, we had too much messages going through, and it probably simplified everything, and I think that probably got focus back.
Now, you lost a whole season in 2020 to really build a deeper squad and a stronger squad, and the depth of your squad. Tonight, you made substitutions with 15 minutes left. You brought on players with far less experience and took a lot of your experienced players off. Do you feel you're in a position now where the depth is so good and you've exploited them to high-pressure situations, and you can go into this rugby championship, you know, with a really strong squad as a collective?
Yes, I think, John, that's one of our strategic goals, is to obviously we want to win. That for a national side, I think that's the most important thing always. But then to create squad depth and get some experience into them, and I think we are slowly trying to get that right. But yes, there's still a lot to come, and we're only a third into our test matches for the season. So yes, we will probably use the rugby championship on the same vibe. Try and win, try and build squad depth. You know, the next big thing will probably be 2023.
So you talk about experience. One guy that does not lack any experience is Monestein. Just talk about what he adds to the squad.
Yes, John, he brings a lot in terms of, you know, a lot of experience. I would say probably similar to what we had in a guy like Schalk Brits in the World Cup. You know, he's at a stage in his career where he's not. He just gives information away. You know, so it's lovely to have him. And like I said during the week, we are blessed currently with 3 proper 10s. And it was a very, very, very tight call between Elton and himself. Probably took us an hour to make that decision. And the thing that went his way was probably being here and understanding how big and how massive this would be for us. Yeah.
Well, he did it in 2009. He did it again tonight. Enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
The celebration will go on for a very, very long time. John, for you, where does this one rate?
Mart, the
Compared to
the
09.
celebration will only go until 10 o'clock. You know.
Curfew.
And then we'll all be inside celebrating, having lemonade.
This is, well, that's probably why Joel is so thin. I should be getting
cycling.
to the lemonade, yeah. It is colossal. You know, the one thing that I remember about 12 in 2009 is we wanted to come back desperately to back up a legacy, you know, that is a once-off World Cup win, and be able to show the world and our supporters that we were a team that had quality that could do it again. And there's the only way to do it is to be able to match up against the best of the North and do it 2 years later. And this team has done that as well, but under unbelievably difficult conditions. What they've done is they've had COVID, they've had isolation, they are in a bubble. It's just all of these challenges. They haven't been able to develop new strategies or players in 2 seasons that they've missed out because of the pandemic. And so this is a special group. This is it's a Springbok team that continues to give hope to South Africa, that continues to perform. They leave everything out there, and they make us all proud.
And even without having played in the last few years, it's really the continuity in the personnel that's being used in this team. Go on.
I think the leadership, when you talk about the leadership, you think about simplicity, patience, and a lot of compassion. And this is what this team has shown. They care a lot about each other. It's always a mention of someone else, not the one. Coaches taking responsibilities when they make mistakes. And it goes a long way for the players, because then you get the buy-in. You start to understand what is the important thing, as Russ's thing, and he used to say, and he still says it with Jacques Nienaber, let the main thing stay the main thing.
Yeah.
And the main thing has been South Africa, and these guys have been a thorough and the true representation of that.
From the analysis point of view, your favorite tour so far?
Favorite moment of the draw. Draw. You caught me there.
The draw.
The draw.
From a draw to a win.
Yeah, so when it was 13 all there, I was thinking, or 16 all, I was thinking, oh, please don't be a draw. That is probably the worst thing to happen. But yeah, this one was up there. This draw. It's just experiencing all of this in a time where we need it again, you know, and seeing it from here, seeing how much it meant for Springboks after that win. You know, you could see, as I said, these guys have a difficult time. They're in a bubble. They have to do tests twice a week, and those are not nice. We all know about that. So yeah, this tour is up there just by just the quality of the game, and just by the way you can see people enjoyed it, and it was actually a cracker 3 tests. Everyone threw everything at it, so special.
Very special indeed. Well, the tour's over. It's done and dusted. South Africa are the champions, but your World of Champions will be bringing you even more sport. The return of football is still going to be happening, but live, the Summer Olympics, the final day happening tomorrow from midnight. So if you want to stay up, I think you really should stay up for the final day, as well as the closing ceremony. We've got the Mitre 10 Cup coming up, Auckland up against Canterbury. That's bright and early tomorrow morning, 6:30. The Syria Moto GP as well, starting at 1:30. And then we've got a Curry Cup triple header right here at home. That one happening next week, Wednesday, from 2:15. When the rugby continues, South Africa taking on Argentina. That's how they kick it off. That's going to be from Saturday, 4 o'clock. South Africa up against Argentina, and it will be 2 matches back to back. And then the return of football, the Premier League taking over. 13th of August, 9 o'clock. Kamani was a big Newcastle
Come on,
fan.
Newcastle, the
Yeah.
Tsunami.
You don't have a team?
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Bandwagon.
CJ?
Liverpool.
Liverpool as well?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, you can be back in the golf circle now.
He's allowed.
He first has to take my number.
See how easy it is to score an invitation. Gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are cleared. Let's get out of the cold and have some lemonades. But first, before we do that, I'd love to say a big thank you to our entire team here at SuperSport. SuperSport, starting with the camera operators. How brilliant have they been? Our chopper as well, giving us all these gorgeous shots of Cape Town. Spider-Cam working very, very hard. All of our camera operators, broadcast center, our engineers, vision control. We have EVS, director's assistants, vision mixer, our graphics team, as well as our AR team, the stats team, social media team, our floor managers, both upstairs and downstairs, makeup and styling, our audio department, who has been world class, our team in Randburg as well, our editors, producers, as well as the commentary team here in Cape Town, and our analysts, both on the floor and here in studio. A special mention to Kiabetu Mokoto, Penelope Bia, as well as Besi Baloile Sabani. They've been part of the logistics team, making sure everything goes off well. Dion Swart, Vusi Tlaba, our event managers, and Deshni Naidu, our head of operations. Sam Sejamoholo, our head producer in our rugby department. Alvin Nike, who was our director today and our head of content. And Tata Monale, our EP. Last but not least, Doki Dokrat, who is our head of production, and to our CEO of SuperSport, Mark Jury. They're the men and women that have to work extra hard to make sure that we can even put pictures on air during a time when it has been really difficult, a time when people are losing every single thing. But just for a moment, some sort of relief, some sort of fun, some sort of entertainment in the Lions Tour 2021. Lastly, to you, thank you so much for joining us from wherever you are in the world. Viewers in New Zealand, in Australia, Japan, throughout Europe, North America, South America, and across the African continent. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversations using that hashtag #SSRugby. Thank you so much for joining us for what has been an entertaining few weeks. It's been a long, hard slog, and in the end, it is the Springboks that walk away with victory. They are the Lions Tour 2021 champions. We're going to celebrate with some lemonade. You make sure that you stay warm and cozy at home as well. It's been a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege. Let's say goodbye, guys. Ciao, ciao to everybody that is watching. And we see you again in 12 years as South Africa take on the Lions. It will be chapter 15. Who will win it then? Goodbye.